All right, y'all, here we are, Friday, April 9th in the garden, Castlemont. It's looking really good out here. I see that you guys have 3 beds ready to be dug. We've already dug and are ready to be prepped and planted. I want to note how you made them a little wider. You can see the pathway. You dug into the pathway on both sides. Now, sometimes there may be wood chips in the pathway, like right here, which is great. You didn't want to incorporate that. So you try to pull that back as far as possible. But over here you can see it's pretty broken down, and that's because out here in these pathways, what we're doing is we're putting layers of manure and layers of wood chips and actually creating compost. So then we throw that into the beds. And you can see in some of our other beds that have already been planted, we've done the same thing. It's a little bit deeper in these pathways right here than that are right along the edge of the bed, and that's because we're adding that compost. It's another example right there. And so what we do after we get our beds all set up like this, good width, you're going about halfway in on each side in the paths. Then we're gonna eventually try to come and mulch them again. We were talking a little bit about this the other day in the garden, but out here behind the gates, we have our manure piles from the stables up in the hills. You can just take this stuff. There's probably a lot of eucalyptus and stuff in there. And then we'll lay that in. Now back here, I actually wanted to show you. One of the projects in the pipeline is prepping this back area. This used to be all asphalt, but we've since come and reclaimed it. See, it's turned into a nice little kick it spot. And so you can see it's actually soil. Last year we grew squash out here. So we're gonna prep this area. So I'll show you a little bit later what that looks like. For the time being, what we wanna do is come through with a hoe and just chop these weeds, chop, so then they won't flower and reproduce their seeds. And move the debris to the side, because what we'll do is we'll come through and we'll start digging holes and add in fertilizer, and we'll try to fill this up with winter squash. So that's the big thing in the pipeline besides keeping these beds rotating. But I'll send through a garden harvest list and then we'll know what's coming next. Now, this is another area. This is the orchard. You see our banana tree. We got this perennial clover, a white New Zealand clover, and we got the red clover. Looking really nice back here for the pollinators. You see our bees. But what we want to do out here too is we want to grow more winter squash. And so over here with these yellow flowers, these are more weeds. Got some mustard, but also these types of weeds. And so we'll come through and chop down a lot of this stuff and dig the holes here too. So we'll have this whole back area for winter squash. All right, stay posted. I'll get you the next info soon.